When building out a creative studio for photography and/or video, a bright continuous LED light is one of the most important investments you will make. You don't want to buy more than you need, but you don't want to underspend either, and then buy another more expensive light later. Well, today I'm going to review two continuous LED lights that hit the sweet spot for a wide variety of creative applications: the Godox VL150 and the Weeylite Ninja 400. Both the VL150 and Ninja 400 are 150 watt lights. Now, when shopping for LED studio lights like these, you will find other lights that are 60 watt, 80 watt, 120 watt, 300 watt lights. Generally speaking, the higher the wattage, the brighter the light, the higher the price. You may be tempted then, when buying your first studio light, to purchase a cheaper, lower wattage model. For example, a 60 watt continuous LED like the Godox SL60W. Don't get me wrong, the 60W is a good light for the price, but its low 60 watt output limits its usefulness. For example, when a modifier like a large softbox is mounted on the 60W, light output is not only softened, but diminished. This translates into having to position the light closer to a subject to achieve proper exposure, which then leads to bringing the camera closer as well, and perhaps even changing the focal length of the lens so the light isn't visible in frame. Both the Godox VL150 and Ninja 400, on the other hand, provide 150 watts of power, which is 2.5 times brighter than the aforementioned 60W. Their higher wattage not only permits increased distance between the light and your subject so you can be shooting wider, but also opens the door to more creative lighting applications and techniques. For example, you can use that higher wattage to bounce the light off the ceiling or the walls. You can use multiple layers of diffusion to create even softer light. You could be experimenting with book light techniques if you're doing any kind of video or filmmaking. And that's the fantastic thing about spending a little more money on higher wattage lights. You may not always use the light at 100% brightness, but when you need that extra power, it's there. Okay, now that we've talked about wattage, let's take a look at how these lights are similar. Both are continuous LED lights, which means you turn them on and they stay on. Both have high CRI values at or above 95 for optimum color accuracy. Both have industry standard Bowens mounts for attaching modifiers. Both are controlled and powered through external control units. Both have variable stepless brightness between 0 and 100%. Both are powered through an outlet or with a single V-mount battery that is sold separately. Both include remote controls and offer free apps for iOS and Android. Both come with Bowens mount reflectors to increase light output. Both lights are well constructed. They're made of aviation aluminum alloy and high-quality plastics. Both lights include U-brackets that mount to any light stand or C-stand that offer 360 degrees of rotation. Both come with padded cases for storage and travel. And then finally, both lights are incredibly quiet. Even when set to 100% brightness, you barely hear any noise coming from either light. So as you can see, these lights are very similar, but there are a few minor and two major differences between them. The Godox VL150 produces light at a fixed color temperature of 5600 Kelvin. The Ninja 400, on the other hand, produces light at a range of color temperatures between 2500 and 8500 Kelvin. In technical lingo, this means the VL150 is a daylight balanced light, while the Ninja 400 is a bicolor light. Which is better? Well, it really comes down to how you intend to use the light. Both lights can output light at 5600 Kelvin, which is the standard neutral color temperature of light. It's what this key light up here next to me is using right now. But the Ninja 400 can also output a range of warmer and cooler temperatures. For example, here's a comparison with the Godox VL150 on the left and the Weeylite Ninja 400 on the right. I think you can pretty clearly see here that in this one-to-one matchup where everything else is the same, we're able to see the color temperature of each light at 5600 Kelvin. And the Godox VL150, to my eyes at least, appears a little more neutral. there is not as much color cast in the light as opposed to the Ninja 400, which has a little more warmth. And there's also, I think, a little more magenta in its light. Here is the same setup with the light pulled in closer and brightness cut in half. The Weeylite, again, looks a little more magenta at 5600 Kelvin compared to the Godox. But even though 5600 Kelvin on the VL150 may appear more neutral than it does on the Ninja 400, it doesn't really tell the whole story. Because remember, the Ninja 400 is a bicolor light, which means you can dial in any color temperature you want. You can make it warmer, you can make it cooler, which gives you more creative latitude with your lighting compared to the VL150. Another major difference is found at low brightness levels. Here is the VL150 with brightness set to 1%. And here is the Ninja 400 with brightness also set to 1%. Now, since both lights are 150 watts and set to 1% brightness, it may seem strange that the Ninja 400 is so much brighter than the VL150. What's happening here is that the effective brightness range of the Ninja 400 is actually 20 to 100%. This means the VL150 has more latitude at the low end of the brightness scale. Now let's take a look at some of the minor differences between these lights. Tilt on the VL150 is locked using a circular knob, while the Ninja 400 uses a latch. The latch design of the Ninja 400 makes adjusting tilt much faster and simpler comparatively. The Ninja 400 has DMX inputs and outputs, which means the light can be plugged into a console for professional setups, while the VL150 does not offer DMX. As mentioned earlier, both the VL150 and Ninja 400 offer free iOS and Android mobile apps. Each app controls power, brightness level, and grouping if you have more than one Bluetooth-compatible light from the same brand. Because the Ninja 400 is bicolor, its app also controls color temperature through a variable slider or presets. And while functional, the design and user experience of both apps could definitely be improved. But of the two, the Godox app needs the most work. And that's because brightness levels between the control unit and the app are not in sync. You have to manually set the brightness of the control unit to the value displayed on the app, or vice versa, in order for them to correctly adjust brightness together. Additionally, with the VL150, brightness can only be turned down through the mobile app to 10%. For levels lower than 10, you have to use the control unit. In addition to the brightness, what I like most about these lights, especially for creating video content like this, is how quiet they are. When powered on, most of the time they're nearly silent, but when running for a while, their internal fans can and will kick on, but thankfully the sound is quiet and nowhere near as loud as other continuous LED lights I own, including the two backups that I'm currently using. Additionally, I love having separate control units. Having one of these hanging on your light stand or your C-stand, it is so much easier powering the lights on and off and controlling brightness using one of these rather than reaching up high and using the controls on the back of the light. Also a nice feature, the control panels have memory. So when you power the lights off and on, they remember the settings you last used. This is a great feature for those who have fixed setups where you need your lighting values to always be consistent and the same for every video. Additionally, at the time of this video, the Ninja 400 not only costs $30 less than the Godox VL150 in the United States, but as far as I can tell, it's the only continuous bicolor LED with this level of brightness at this price point. Overall, I think the VL150 is the better light for photographers and videographers who always want to emulate neutral 5600 Kelvin daylight. The Ninja 400 is the better light for those who value creative flexibility, most notably filmmakers, videographers, and some photographers. Those who intend to use light to both illuminate and creatively enhance their subjects without warming gels or modifiers like you would need to use with the VL150. Ultimately, really, what it comes down to is how important color temperature is to you and the type of work that you are creating. If it is important and you want variability and you want to control how warm and cool the output of light is, then the Weeylite Ninja 400 is the way to go. To check the current price of both lights, see the video description below. In full disclosure, those links are affiliate links, which means this channel would earn a small percentage of your purchase at no additional cost to you. I also want to mention that I purchased the VL150 with my own money, but the Ninja 400 was sent to me by Weeylite for the purposes of this review. Neither Godox nor Weeylite had any input in this, nor have they seen this video prior to publication. So all words and thoughts and opinions are my own. If you have questions, feel free to leave a comment below, or you can DM me over at Instagram. I'll put my profile up here at the top of the screen, and there's a link down below in the description as well. Happy to answer any questions you may have. By the way, if you haven't already done so, please remember to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if you learned something from it, and also subscribe to this channel, of course, if you would like to keep in touch in the future and see more videos like this. I appreciate your time and attention as always. Thanks so much for being here. See you next week.